Welcome back to the lab, where we are making a lot of noise again. It's not that early in the morning. Bleeding up the cooling system after putting a new thermostat in that. You know what that is, I don't need to tell you. And we're good. Water temp is perfect. I'm happy with that. I'm setting rock solid at 75. It's a 68 degree thermostat. They do run a little bit hotter than what the thermostat says. So that's good. Problem solved. So our Motorrad, which is an American brand apparently, Motorrad thermostat was junk. Ran too hot. No good for a race car. Might be alright for a road car, except I've drilled and tapped thread in it, so you can't use it for a road car without putting some main fittings on it. It'll cost more than the thermostat's worth. So I might smash that later on, I think, out of pure frustration and more fun. I better turn this off before we annoy the neighbours too much. Hopefully the couriers deliver our new battery today. This arrangement is not working. It's not really got enough cranking amps, and obviously this cable's a bit small, but it's on there just as a jumper for the other one, just to give it a hand to start it. But it struggled a little bit this morning. This here, maybe that, not sure, but it didn't want to start this morning. And yeah, it was definitely that. And you see this powder on everything that's kicking around? Lots of powder everywhere. That's because the car backfired so loudly. It shook the roof and all the polystyrene fell down from the sky. It rained down on us. Oh, there's more there. There's probably, yeah, a whole lot on the roof. It was a very loud bang. So I probably best not be starting the car anymore without our new battery, because you can only do that so many times, right? And you just will eventually get told off by your neighbours, despite some of them operating fireworks at 3 o'clock in the morning. Never mind. Thermostat. That there. I did test that last night. I'll see if the footage is any good and I'll tag it in here. Still closed. 83. Still closed. Should be open by now. It's 78.6. Faulty. Excuse the jug boiling right next to us. I guess it doesn't have to be right next to us, does it? We're at 89, 88, and dropping. It's still open now. It was very slow to open up. It was about 93 before it opened. That appears to be closing right now, I'd say, at 87. Hmm. 86. Put a little bit more cold water in there. That's closing now at 80. $81, 80. Okay, so we're about 80 degrees and it's just very slowly starting to open, just cracking at 80. It's supposed to be 76.8. It should be opening. So this is quite late and quite sluggish. That should be well and truly open at this point. I'm probably going to overflow my... It's very, very full on the kitchen bench. Barely open. Operates shit, really. Excuse French. Too slow. Operates at too high a temperature, it opens up, and then it's actually slow to close. It closes at about the right temperature, but it certainly opens very, very late. So that's no good at all. That's junk. That's absolute bin material. I think this one here might have been a Nissan one, an original Nissan one. I think I saw Nissan on it somewhere. We would have been better off just to cobble that together, put that in the original housing we have here. Is this a Nissan housing? Is that where I got the... That's a Nissan housing. That's where I got that from. So that probably is the one that came out of there anyway, I would say. Possibly. There was tomfoolery going on with it possibly is that one. The rear wheel drive thermostat housing. This one here is different to the front wheel drive thermostat housing. Front wheel drive one has a bigger elbow and a longer neck on it, and it's got different distance from these mounting points here and this face here and that there. So when I got the Mishimoto low temp thermostat, we were rear wheel drive only, but using the front wheel drive longer housing. So when I converted it to four wheel drive, we used the rear wheel drive one. So this was then modified, a long process to make it work inside here, and tested probably in a similar yogurt pot to get everything right, working right. And unfortunately, after a period of time, it's failed. Like I showed you in the previous video, probably would have been better off just to rip that seal off, put it back together, good as gold. Never mind, didn't do that. Alright, let's see what we attack next while we wait for a new battery and the drive shaft to come back from balancing. Drive shaft's back, obviously. Yay. Needed some weights, but that's fine. Those are relatively small weights. Obviously both pretty much on the same line, so the shaft must have been a little heavy that way, right? So you put the weight on this side to balance it. But that's fine. That's not a lot of weight for a drive shaft, so that's good to go. I'm considering whether I paint that or not. At this stage, probably not. It has to come back out to paint the underside of the car anyway, and we are running a bit short on time in some regards, so I'm going to smash that back into the car. It's good. Happy. Suddenly it's 5 o'clock again. Actually, after that, it's reading like... Mucked around and made a better earthing cable for our little piggyback battery to help us start it, so I can have a wee play with the bang stick in there and the screens and buttons and wires and things, and make something else work on there. Gear position indicator. And of course, Murphy's Law, when you muck around and you set something like that up because the new battery hasn't arrived, the courier dropped off the new battery. So that's good that it's here for the weekend. That's awesome. I can carry on with that. All we really need, which I should have organised earlier on the day, is some oil for our differentials. And I've spoken with Mr. Man from Penrite, and that's happening, but it's just not here right now. With no wheels and tyres and just on the hoist and no load, there's enough oil in those things. It'll be fine. Front and rear differential will have some oil, not all of it, and the transfer box has some oil, but with no load, just checking the gears will be fine. So I'm going to sit in there, I'm going to have a wee play, set up the wiring, which is beautiful, 100% ready to go. Not basically is a potentiometer on the gearbox, and as you put it in different gear positions, the potentiometer clocks around, gives a different voltage signal back to the ECU. You set up the ECU and say at this voltage here, that's that gear, and at that voltage there, that's that gear, that voltage there, etc. So it's difficult to select all gears while the engine's not running, because you might bang the dogs against each other, clunk clunk, instead of beside each other and engaging. So that's why we need to run it to do that. And with those batteries, I think I told you earlier on what happens with that. So this is all sort of simple stuff. It's not really massively techo. Obviously power's on. Laptop's plugged into the box of tricks over here, a Link G4 Plus 350Z plug-in. That's everything, looks like it's all working there, so that's cool. The wire that we've connected to, AN Volt 1, so at the moment that's selected to off, so we just go through here and we go, oh look, there it is, gear position sensor. So we click on that, we go, okay, and now that's labeled cruise control. Let's not call it cruise control. Gear position. That'll do. Done. Now we go through and set everything up. These are all the error values. There'll be a gear detection. There'll be things, oh look, you can see me, hello. There'll be a table to set up. Stuff and things, so it had nothing to do with our analog inputs. It's in gear detection, which is in chassis and body. I'm picking, if I click on this, here we go, gear detection mode. Sorry about the reflections here. That might be a little bit better. RPM speed, no, we don't want that. We want analog position sensor. My mouse is being a bit funny today. We'll go okay on that. Oh, look at this, see? These are the different voltages that I was talking about that we need to look at and find. And so we can figure out where we're at the moment based on going to runtime values, which tells us what's coming out of the potentiometer, which is, I guess if that's where the lever is, the potentiometer is right there, under there. And then we can enter those as we go through. Cool, so we'll start with neutral. Good, because we're in neutral right now. I know we're in neutral. Gear A, I've clicked on that and I've called it neutral. So volt A, we need to know what the value is for, sorry, I'm trying to drive the camera and the mouse at the same time. We need to know what the value is for volt A. So we go R for runtime values. I've already opened that and I've already clicked on analog because that's where it's all coming from. And look, it's the first one, AN1, gear position, 2.85. If we enter in here, 2.85, 2.85. Okay. The computer now should know that we're in neutral. It's not showing us the gear yet. I need to suss out why, but I'm sure it'll come online at some point when I get it all sorted out. Let's go through everything and figure it out. Okay, instead of starting it and going through the gears, I'm just going to quickly try using the voltage values that are in the info from HGT. So at the moment I'm doing third gear. Where are we? Third gear. Voltage at operating channel, blah blah blah, 0.56. So I just go into here and I will put in here 0.56. Okay, I'm just going to go through that like that and I'm going to see if that works. Gear E, it must be number 4. Okay, voltage for that, we'll go down to here again, we'll go fourth gear, 1.345. We'll see if that works. It may not work. I'm sure that's what it said, 1.345. Cool. I'm going to bang those through. I'm going to see what happens. I pulled the stick back before and said we were in first gear when we got second gear, so it was just slightly out, but yeah, it might work. Look at that ugly bald head and the reflection. Focus phone. That's not going to be... there we go. Finally. So I've entered all the values there. So we've got neutral, which I don't think my dash will display because it doesn't have the ability to do that. It's only got the dash there. So I'm guessing that's what's going to tell us when we're in neutral. HGT have got a really nice unit that would actually go over there. Could take care of all this for us, but I don't know. Two dashes in the car. We could put it right here, I guess. A nice big, everything else on here and a couple of things on the HGT one. Wouldn't be a bad idea. This is all set up according to the chart that we've got on the PDF here, which looks to be like it probably is right. Of course, this is currently sitting here. Is it in neutral? This is currently sitting here in neutral, my bad. And it says it's in neutral. I think that's what we're going to see when we're in neutral. So we pull it back. That's first gear. That's a bit sticky for some reason. I need to look into whatever's going on there. So that is first gear. We're not seeing first gear. Why are we not seeing first gear? Well, I looked at this and the voltage tolerance of 1 volt, and I thought that's probably quite high given that we're only dealing with very small amounts. So I went into here and I said 1 volt's far too big. Let's call it 0.3, shall we? We'll say it was 0.3 volts. Cool. And look, we're in first gear. Well, I can't bang it through to, well, I haven't tried actually. See, it's not gone second gear because the dogs have crashed together because our gearbox is not going around. But there's first gear and there's neutral. I could try and start it, but I have a feeling we're going to get a massive backfire and blow the cobwebs out of the ceiling again. Hopefully this is all set up properly now. A bit stinky in here. Just caught that without a big bang, I think. Rightio, we're in neutral, we're in first gear, we're in second gear, we're in third gear, we're in fourth gear, fifth gear. Don't worry about the chattering, that's partially engaged clutch. Fourth, third, second, first, neutral again. Turn it off because it's making a lot of noise. So no wheels and tyres on the drive line. That's part of the chatter, and partially engaged clutch because I don't want things spinning too fast without full oil in the transfer box and diffs. There is no load on them. It won't cause any harm. There is oil and whatnot in there, so there's no issues with that. It's run for a grand total of 15-20 seconds. It'll be absolutely fine. If that did damage, it was never going to last anyway. The actual sequential gearbox has got at least 2/3 oil in it, so that's fine for what we're doing here. We have some oil and fluids all sorted out, and it's coming shortly, thanks to Mr. Penwright. So that's good. I've got the gear position indicator is now functioning, subject to testing. It's been through the gears once or twice. On the hoist here, that's cool. We'll see, make sure that it works properly as far as on the dyno and on the track, etc. We could have the voltages set a little bit wrong potentially, but I don't think so. It's a pretty foolproof sort of thing. You set it up properly and you're good. So it seems to be good. Except for the cosmetics of in the insulation of my twisted wire technique. That's beautiful, isn't it? 100% track ready. There's something that might be happening with all this, and I'll discuss that when we have confirmation. And we need to do some sort of a boot to seal this, because otherwise the fire can come in and out of here, or at least the hot air from everything that happens in the front there. Other than that, that's our progress for the day. Thermostat works good. Yep, it's hot water coming out of there now. It was up to temp. That's hot. So yay, it works. Very good. Have a good weekend. You'll see me tomorrow. I won't see you. You'll see me. Thanks for watching. Cheers. Bye.